Thank you all so much for having me. Really honored to be here to honor Etel, a writer and an artist that has had a profound impact on me. I did not have the pleasure of meeting Etel in person, and so what I know of her is grounded in her work, what she contributed, what she offered us in her language, in her lines, in the color she chose. And what I've accessed through Etel is an attentiveness, I think has been named, to the land, to the people who have stewarded the land, to the refugees, to those in struggle, to women, to Arabs, and how we make and remake ourselves. And I believe she loved us. I believe she loved us Palestinians, us women, those of us who are committed to the project of life making. And I think abstraction at its worst is superficial distraction. And I like to think that Etel's abstraction was actually trying to move us towards a place of hope and space, to do the work that needs to be done. At least that's my reading of her work. And of course, as much as I'm thinking of Etel, I'm thinking of Shireen, I'm thinking of our people back home. And so of course, everything I do is for them, and I want to dedicate this reading to them as well. Thank you for listening and for the gift of your presence. So this first poem is called The Workers Love Palestine. The week before the Sun announced hospice, my great-great-great-great-great-grandchild, the harpist, announced, "Workers of the world, join the strike for guaranteed light." The Florists Union in Caracas and the Algerian weavers presented joint proposals toward illumination that multiplies. Bare hills, lakes of salt, sutured, dim ruins, shadowless, of shipping yards and empires of memories of Sarin. The Children's Council listened in wreaths of yellow iris, patterned leaves designating each role. Did you know that within attunement to effort, the end of monument resides? Then the harpist, my progeny, that fate I had so long evaded, debt I owe to demographic warfare and names sliced open, reborn in disfigured repetition, sang 300 years of returning. Language is merely the placeholder for what the land has always known. Species being is an observation of mom, preface, absent the wet painting of a raised village, sold. This land is land, land is land, 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 I am coming. Okay. And the next poem I'm gonna read is called Species Being Free Right, and it starts with an epigraph from Marx. The whole character of a species is contained in the character of its life activity. Life itself appears only as a means to life. I live in the second century of world wars. A collage of startling images oversees breakfast, recurring pails of stones dimly erratic, the Sisyphus hologram in my head. I take the stones to the privatized river to remember an incentive of music, palimpsest of still alive. On one of my digital feeds, an old man listens to a record in his destroyed Aleppo apartment. Man as the tool-making animal, writes Franklin. I could not touch the song in the photograph, so I share the still as a gesture of feeling, an animal who still listens. Beneath my eyes, I shake the pail harder and harder, then order 2 books on Amazon, A History of Flowers and Empathy, Why It Matters. Do you recall the floating city? Unbuilt, it remains an archaeology of another possible future. A projection of flag-claimed moons offers more evidence. The workers need an elsewhere. What I really want is to collaborate with the dead, to appear briefly graphic, acquire only a hermetic deserting. Okay, next I'm going to read a poem called Arab Making. Who gifted Jefferson the Quran? Who grammared the ship modern? Who etymologized scimitar or security? Who marched Zamuri inland? Who transcribed the Treaty of Friendship? Who faced us east? Who syntaxed terror? Who armed Sirhan? Who drowned water in the place of ravens? Who bombed Syria, Yemen, Iraq, Lebanon, Libya, Kuwait, Sudan? Who dangled Naji Daifallah's skull? Who gross produced the grapes? Who translated kings and not birds? Who mapped the stars abject? Who placed these fingers on my heart? Who drew Israel without the rank and file? Who stamped the passport? Who infected bodies in sills setting allegiance? Who built the wall? Who invested in petrol? Who discovered you? Who citizened us capable to floodlight zoos and slaves? Who is my name? Who painted Jerome's fingers as poppies crowding my throat? Who marketed Mia Khalifa's penetration? Who made me watch? Who filled my cervix with sand? Who nocturned us desert and film? Who invented me begging softly to be destroyed? I'm gonna read a couple more poems. I haven't read poems in front of people in a very long time. So yeah, glad to be here. This is called After the Arab Apocalypse, after Etel Adnan. After presence, after discover, after cannibal, after victory, after absence, I learned the distinction of I and you, contaminate and write our illusions without stampede. Lover, don't be afraid to regret everything. Life steams impressionist. Shadows retain violet, grasp towards impulse. The womb is purpose and wheel. Enough salt vomit reveals the bottom circuit. Eventually, the ocean drinks you back. Swaying away outlines the softest debris. One day you will be related to rain in all synonyms of nothing. Keep your eyes open in the whale's esophagus. Savor the flecks before dispersal into song. I'm going to read one more. And this poem is called An-Nisa. Because all language lacks fluency, I can only gesture toward the meaning of women, a dream-laden summer cadence, graphesthesia threading us, quotient us. When the muses gossip, speech swims milky, sighs in jazz, shares secret secretions, bivalvia of shimmer, pluming hour to hour, Les Femmes d'Alger smiling at settlers before leaving the bomb to dance. Every prior syllabic green composes the woman within me as a committee of women exploding. Thank you.